Now, we are joined by two gentlemen who are working to build a civic center in our community. Former Mayor Jerry Hodge is with us, and Alex Fairley is here, and they're going to talk about their proposal for the new civic center plan. It's simply called the Amarillo Plan. Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all doing today?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Anytime. We
Morning,
welcome it.
David.
Well, let's start off with this. You looked at this plan, you looked at the old plan, and you saw where you could make some changes, making some difference. And the big key was price tag. Alex, tell us how you built up and figured and got to this point to present this new Civic Center plan.
Well, basically, we had some thoughts early on back in the summer after Jerry and I had a meeting with the mayor, and we had some thoughts that, different design, several differences about it could maybe bring the price down. So, frankly, we went out and hired some the most experienced folks in the country who know buildings and of this type and size, and asked them to begin working with us. So, as most things that I do, I go find smart people who know what they're doing and ask them to help me. I don't know what Jerry would say about that.
Why'd you get me in on this?
I got Jerry, and he's smarter than me too. Everyone involved is smarter than me, David.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're like me. Go get help. Go get the help.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, with that, David was asking about the overall price tag of this, but I know one of the biggest sticking points in the last Civic Center issue really was that tax rate. I know you've had to dive into those figures as well. So could you give us an idea of how much our tax rate would increase with this new plan?
Sure. We talked about what the tax math was during the Prop A thing. Some folks were a little frustrated with it, but we've applied the very same formula to our plan. Like the standard we asked the Prop A folks to live with, we thought we should live by the same standard. So that 38 to 39% of Prop A, the number in this plan, it's pretty simple. We're just spending less money. Instead of 275 million, we're proposing to spend 110, 115, and so that number will be just below 16%, Shannon.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Does that include the renovation, parking, and infrastructure? What all does this include and what all does it not?
Jerry, you want to hop in there?
Well, not really. You've got all the numbers, and it includes the arena and has some remodel to the old Coliseum, update
Right.
and upgrade to it. And the Plaza Park and in the between Hodgetown and this new arena.
Basically, the Prop A, to kind of compare the two side by side, was a new arena. It was a refurbishing of the existing convention space. In addition to the space, a refurbishing of the Santa Fe Depot and a parking garage. I mean, as you guys know, David was really involved in it. And so basically, at the beginning of the discussion about this plan, it was our inclination that asking Amarillo for 275 to 300 million dollars was just going to be a hard ask. So while it would be great to get all that stuff done in one fell swoop, at the beginning of our thoughts, we thought we got to make this thing, where it's consumable and acceptable to taxpayers. So our plan is really, you could kind of divide the Prop A plan into two kind of big pieces: the arena and the expansion of the exhibition space. And so we're proposing to do the arena first, and only the arena right now. So this is an arena. It has an anchor tenant. We think it's the right size, but it also, because of the way it's designed, it delivers 50,000 square feet of new contiguous exhibition space. So it helps address the exhibition issue, even though the rest of Prop A would have to be done, down the road. But again, the reason we thought about this, doing it in pieces, is just so Amarillo could take it step by step. We just felt like asking for 300 million was probably going to be really, really difficult.
Alex, you said something about an anchor tenant, and can you divulge a little bit more on that, as who you're looking at and what their role will be? Is this a what would you would call a private public venture on this project?
Sure. Jerry, were you about to say something though?
Well, I just compare the price of the new arena to the arena in Prop A, and I think there's about $45 million less in cost.
Yeah, about that's right. About $45 million less. The Prop A arena was 155. This arena is around 110.
Yeah.
And then it's an important point that just gets lost when you're really looking at the total cost of these projects. It's not just the principal. You're going to pay interest for 30 years. So if you save for every dollar you save in principal, you save about another dollar in interest. So if we save $45 million in the cost of the arena, we save another about $45 million in interest. So 45 million turns into 90. So David, to answer your question, we pretty immediately reached out to the Elmores, who of course brought the sod poodles to town. Jerry and I worked closely with them to kind of recruit them to town 3 years ago for what would become Hodgetown. They're probably recognized as one of the best, if not the best one or two, three operators of minor league sports in the country. They own, I think, 9 professional sports teams. You could imagine not reaching out to them first. And so we did, and they have agreed that they would come. They've agreed to bring an NHL AA hockey franchise to Amarillo. While details would have to be negotiated, they've agreed, the league has agreed, and they would come, and the arrangement would basically be very, very similar to Hodgetown. They'll bring a team, they'll operate the building. It takes the risk off the city for capital expenses and maintenance and that kind of thing. Your viewers probably don't want to listen to every detail of that lease at Hodgetown, but Jerry and I negotiated it, and so they're in and they're committed, and the league is committed, and so this deal comes with an anchor tenant, and of course what that does, it just dramatically improves the finances of the building. It just dramatically changes the economic impact.
According to Prop A's plan, they had in their plan a little over $1 million a year in operational losses. This will be zero. So that's another 30 million over 30 years, not counting inflation.
Yeah.
Well, my question
ahead,
is my question would be this, gentlemen. Since this is a quasi, if you will, public-private partnership, who's going to be in charge of scheduling? That could get to be a problem, could it not?
Well, it's one of the things that's another advantage about the Elmores. The Elmores run several buildings. They run a building in Salt Lake City where I think it was the '96 Winter Olympics happened, and they have a AA NHL team in that building in the same league. The Elmores operate already a team. They're owners in this league. And in that building, as in others that they run, they promote all the concerts and all the shows, and in bringing in a team and a building manager, you want someone who knows that business, because it's kind of easy to throw out on the internet, hey, we're gonna have all these shows, but there's a lot more complication and risk to that than almost anybody understands. So the Elmores are experts in that. They have the relationships in the entertainment space, and so yeah, they would be the folks that would be scheduling everything. But I wouldn't look at so much as they'll be in control of the schedule, as we'll have a professional concert promoter with a lot of experience in the relationships to recruit those shows and concerts to town, that we wouldn't normally otherwise have. But as the building manager, they would be, listen, they want to schedule that building every night of their life if they could. Like, they want that building to be full. So we're aligned in interest with a building owner who's motivated to bring shows to Amarillo.
It won't be any different than Hodgetown, and it's available to the community on scheduling. They have a whole office staff that just promotes the whole complex of Hodgetown. The building, I see it as being the same way.
Civic Center.
Yeah, we've touched a lot on the logistics, the price tag, the taxes, all of that stuff. But what kind of a timeline would we be looking at for this project?
Essentially, the building takes about 24 to 30 months to build. So if, Jerry and I feel like that we're asking our city council to put this back on the ballot in May so that voters can decide on this plan, like they, got to vote on Prop A. So if it got approved in May, Shannon, and there's obviously some hurdles between there and there, we got to get our city council to agree to let Amarilloans vote on it, and that's looking like it might be, a hurdle, because we have a couple of them saying we're not putting it on the ballot. This discussion's over for 2 or 3 years. But if it got done in May, to answer your question, the building would open in the fall of 2023, because that would be about 2.5 years from then. So there's some details in that 2 years that I could share, but in general, the building would open in the fall of 2023, October, November.
So following up with that, I heard a lot of comments with Prop A that got shot down that, asking for that amount of money in the middle of a public health crisis, a pandemic, is just outrageous, right? Well, in 2021, May of 2021, do you feel that we're going to be far enough through this thing for people to vote yes on something, even if it costs less?
Yeah. I would answer that question in 2 ways. Jerry, you should weigh in on this. One is, this spend is about 40% of that spend. So it's dramatically less amount of spend, and that's important. But the second thing is, the kind of the first, utterings out of some of our city council about this is, the timing's bad. It's during COVID, which is confusing to Jerry and I, because the timing wasn't bad for Prop A, and it was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
We have a vaccination that's being distributed to the public right now. Why, we know it'll be months before that gets to us. I watched on, I don't know whose station last night, the governor say he felt like it would be available to the general public by next March. So frankly, I couldn't predict. Jerry probably wouldn't predict, although he's probably better at it than me, because he's got a lot of medical experience. I think, in May, I think the world is going to be I think most people believe it's going to be in a better place, and we'll be coming back to normal. And so, and if we wait until November, then it puts it off all the way until 2024. So, we just have an optimistic look at the world. It's dramatically different now. I mean, we're in a far better place than we ever thought we'd be. So, Jerry, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, Alex, I'm older than you are, so I've got more experience and a little more wisdom.
I agree.
And also, I'm very, very optimistic. I think the hurdle and the only hurdle right now is convincing the city council to put it on there. And, we've had talks with them. I've had talks with them privately. And we're not there yet. But I think if the people of Amarillo will just speak up and say, hey, city council, this is not a political deal. Just let us vote on this plan, and let's see where it goes. I think the people will approve it. I think they'll approve it. The other one failed 62-38. But I didn't hear anybody say we don't need it or we don't need to do something.
Yeah.
And so I would just encourage all your listeners and everybody just to contact your city council members and say, hey, let us vote. And you don't have to take a position, but let us look at the plan. Let's look at the cost, tax increase, everything involved, and let us vote.
One question I want to ask is that Hodgetown was a taxed entity where it was built by tax, but a hot tax, a hotel motel occupancy. Would we have to apply that to the new Civic Center, or could we use the property tax or sales tax from the city budget to help fund this?
Well, it'll have to be, the way I understand it, it'll be a bond election, be bond sold and they be paid with the property tax increase.
Go ahead,
David?
Chuck. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
The hot tax it's pretty used up by Hodgetown. Like I mean, there's some left, and I don't know every detail about it like others might, but there's not enough hot tax capacity to pay for this. And so, yeah, this would have to be paid for by our city. And in speaking to the Prop A people before Prop A, I told them this, and I still believe it. I said, listen, folks, own it. You know, if it's 39, fine, own it. And because here's how I see it. We live in a competitive world. Like in Amarillo, we'd love to have a professional team. We would love to have the best shows and concerts that can come here. But the truth is we're in competition for those shows. They could go to Oklahoma City, they could go to Albuquerque, they could go to Lubbock. And so I see this as we would like these things, but we've got to build the infrastructure so that we can compete with Lubbock to have them. And so, again, I wasn't for spending 9%, particularly on a plan that I didn't feel had great return on investment for taxpayers. But I think this is a lot more reasonable amount. And Jerry and I feel pretty confident. We did some polling at the end of Prop A, and over 70% of the people who voted against it said that they wanted to see a better plan, a different plan, maybe one that was less expensive. So this concept that the timing all of a sudden is bad, it's just not the right time. That's not what voters said. Voters said, we don't like this plan and the price tag. And so we feel like that if the city council would put it on the ballot, we feel like Amarillans will vote for it.
Gentlemen, let me ask this, please. I've tried to look through the plans myself, and I noticed that there were not any renovations to the convention center itself, the current convention center. How come? Or did I miss something?
You didn't miss that. Like basically we've taken Prop A and we've broken it out, and that would be something that, you know, we're just seeing that as a second phase. Listen, we would love that to happen. We're not against it. We think it's great. We would do it second. And we would propose it as something that a future city council does. Ginger's out looking for private money. If they find some private public money, they can maybe use it for that project. But we would be all for that. But this is just the first half. That would be a second half later.
And may I follow up, David?
Go ahead. Mayor Hodge is going to speak. Go ahead, Mayor.
I think there is some money in this budget for some upgrade in the old Coliseum. Is that what you're asking, or are you asking about a new
No, I'm
exhibit?
just saying that I didn't see any plans for renovations to the convention center, and I didn't know if they were. Are there some?
Are you talking about the existing Coliseum?
Yes,
the
sir.
convention area.
Yes, the convention center, the Coliseum itself.
There is some money for some renovation in there.
Yeah, our plan includes some renovation of the Coliseum, of the existing old Coliseum, because we feel like if we do some things to that building, we can make a very unique, intimate fourth venue in Amarillo down there that frankly will allow us to track even a different kind of show there. But as far as the convention center, our plan doesn't address that, except that we deliver 50,000 new square feet of exhibition space. I mean, that's a really nice holdover, but we see the convention center as a project down the road.
Yeah.
Listen, if you add the convention center, you just got to add at least another 100 million. And we just feel like it's too much to ask taxpayers. Our thought was, let's bite this off. We can chew this up, and we think Amarillans will accept it, and then we'll absolutely get to the convention center.
All right, gentlemen, before we get out of here, where can folks go to find out about your project and to help move it forward? You said something about contacting your city council person about the ballot in May. Where can someone, a citizen here in Amarillo, say, I want to see the plans, I want to see the layout? What's the best way to do that to get the information they need to make an informed choice?
All the details of the plan are on the website inspireamarillo.com. It's an incredibly thoroughly detailed layout of the plan. The finances, the design, the anchor tenant, all kinds of details about the anchor tenant. There's a FAQ section. And the other thing that is on that website is the ability to click a button and email your city council members and say, look, I want you to let us vote. It's a very important differentiator. We're not necessarily saying mayor, city council member, bless this plan. We're saying, put this thing on the budget so that Amarillo taxpayers can vote for it. They vote it down, they vote it down. But we're asking them to put it on the budget so that taxpayers can decide on it like they got to decide on Prop A.
There you go. Well, thank you, Mayor Jerry Hodge and Alex Fairley for taking your time out this morning to inform people about the next step in the Civic Center plan. Don't forget, you can go to Inspire Amarillo. You can see all of the details, the layout, the tax breakdown. All that information is right there for you to make an informed choice. Gentlemen, Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here.
Merry Christmas to you, gents.
You guys too.
All
Thanks
right.
for having us.
Anytime, anything, information you need to get out, you let us know, and
Thanks,
we're here
David.
for you. All right? All
Thanks.
right.
Guys,
Be
bye-bye.
careful, guys. Merry Christmas.